If you're a fan of card games, Arcane Eternity might be the game for you, but is it worth the price? It's the $5 game review, so let's find out. Arcane Eternity is a solo-developed roguelike card game with minimal rules and overloaded thrills. At its core dynamic, particle effects tear through the battlefield like fireworks, while 200-plus unique cards and upgrades collide into nuclear level, chain reactions, and more. Build your ultimate strategy with the relic system. That is how it's described on Steam, and I gotta tell you, it almost captures all of that. I enjoy a good card game where I can just sit down and the rules are simple, and the game actually does a pretty good job teaching you as you go, which, sometimes it's a little bit hard. Everybody's tried playing Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! At some point. It's like, oh man, how am I supposed to do this? Now the game kind of walks you through, and you kind of build at a pretty decent rate. And the rules are simple. You're pretty much trying to reduce their lives to zero while maintaining yours, and yours never heals unless you have certain abilities, but we'll get into that later. And it's kind of unique. I gotta tell you, even after like multiple playthroughs of this game, I was still figuring out and finding out new rules and how it actually affected, which is a lot of fun. Even if you don't know the minor rules, you're gonna be all right. Let's get to the pros though, so we can talk more about this. Starting off in the pros, go ahead and call me a weeb. I enjoy the models of the female characters in this game. They're really good. I think it's very well done. They're animated so they move while you're playing, which is kind of nice. I got to blur out the bottom one a little bit because, as you can see, a little risque for some of the YouTube audience. Moving on, another pro is that the cards are actually kind of fun to upgrade and see what kind of different abilities you can do for it. And we'll get to the cons. There are some that just need to be looked at. But for the most part, each card is unique in its own way, and it'll have certain upgrades that kind of pair with others. But then there are other ones that actually are unique to that specific card, which makes it fun. Having a card that is different from, two types of infiltrators or maybe two types of dragonfires, it's kind of fun to see how you can build fun combos with those. And it's ever changing, and it's great because some of them actually combo together really well, and others you can actually even add new abilities to these different cards. So if you're start off as a vampire, you can get the Dragonfire ability, and it's going to change the way you play the game. Another pro is the upgrade system's pretty actually cut and dry. Like, what do you want to do? How do you want to change this? You have the gray ones that are kind of like your meager ones, and your blues, which are a little bit harder, and then you have the orange ones, which are kind of like your legendary effects, and those really do change the way certain cards work, and upgrading them is for the most part pretty simple. We're going to get into that in the cons. It's all a matter of getting the final blow, but other times you can actually get upgrades in your second draw, which is kind of fun. So if you have one character that's just OP and you can't, no matter where you place him, he just seems to be wiping the boss and taking all the upgrades, don't worry, you'll be able to upgrade other cards. And finally, one of my favorite pros about this game is it's not just about one card. You're going to find one style that you want to build your deck in, and it's going to be entertaining as can be, but then you'll try something out, and you'll be like, oh man, I like this one a lot more. So there's so many combinations, and that's what a good card game has. It doesn't just revolve around having one set of cards that do everything. You can pretty much maximize your output by trying out different things every time you start up the game, because you can continue off in old games, or you can just like, you know what, I'm not digging this deck, and start over and go at it again. Let's move on to the cons. Mostly a lot of cosmetic stuff, but let's talk first about the relic system. Now, it's one of the things that they mention in their biography, but the relic system itself needs a lot of work, all right? You can randomly get a relic upgrade when you defeat the boss if your main character is the one that technically kills the boss, which is on its own. I think the game should build a relic around the character you choose, which is going to move me on to my next con, is that you only get the one character, and that's kind of annoying. Like, I should be able to be different players, and it may be that that's a true thing. I haven't figured it out. I've only played a handful of times, but I'm sitting there engaged in this game. It's entertaining as can be, but I'd like to be able to play as some of these other models, and maybe that's where the relic system actually gets built around, not so much as a random upgrade. And looking at the upgrade system, it really could use just a little bit of tweaking. some abilities just don't work the way they're explained out as, and that's a problem. Like the Infiltrator ability should not be attacking me. I should be able to put that on the other player's side like the card's supposed to use and activate it in play. A lot of the Infiltrator abilities, they activate if you have a curse or some other effect on them. They activate when they're in your hand, and it kind of makes it annoying. You're like, okay, what's going on with this one? And I think there's something that just could be looked at. Maybe that's just an effect that it's been overlooked, but definitely need to take a look into that. Moving on to another con, there are some areas when you're trying to upgrade your spells where you can't understand what it is because it is in the game maker's native language. Look, if you can throw in an English translation, that'd be awesome, or the other languages that the game models after. I found a way around it, which was rather annoying. You have to click on the effect and then go back and see what the spell does, what changed about it. And just a simple, quick change to that. Hey, another con is the fatigue system. It definitely needs to be looked at. Sometimes you're just kind of out of luck. You start with 3 cards, and so at the beginning of the game, you're just constantly taking away ticking health. It definitely needs to be looked at. Maybe there's a change. I don't have a good suggestion for it, but it's something that definitely needs to be addressed. And my final note on this one when it comes to cons is there's a massive balance problem. You can tell already when you get in there what cards are kind of the ones you're going to want to go for. I got to tell you, the Dragon Flame deck, just building a Dragon deck is one of my favorite ways, and it's just superiorly broken. I was making like 6-7 attacks in a single turn, just the way certain cards work together. And then there's a lifesteal deck, so much into it. It just constantly work on that balancing. I think there's opportunities there. Actually, I tell you what, I'm going to add another con. I think this would be a lot of fun eventually, once it's balanced, to have a multiplayer view. I think this could be a great multiplayer game, and it's definitely missing out, and that'll be the final con. For $1.99, is Arcane Eternity worth it? Yeah, actually it is. You're going to find yourself wanting to play more and more and try out different combos and builds and increasing the difficulty level. Before I was even making this video, I was like, I wonder what this level's like. It's going to be entertaining. It's definitely worth the pickup, and that is the $5 game review. My name's Coyote. If you have a game you want me to review, or you have your own comments on Arcane Eternity, drop them down in the comments below. Till next time, have a good one.